What is up, everybody, and welcome to the first official episode of Coffee with Cal. Just to start off today, I just want to say thank you for being here. I hope you guys enjoy the content, and if you have anything you want to, say, feel free to tweet at me at Calcolath or visit any of my YouTube channels at Calcolath, at Cal Talks, Cal Reacts. Eventually, I'll just dominate all the Cal blank YouTube channels. I'll just have like hundreds, but for now, I just have those ones that I'm really working on. So, first off, I just want to say that after yesterday's episode, I kind of didn't expect to have like a big change in content over one day, considering my average views were like 20, 30. And then all of a sudden today I upload a video and in the first hour it got over 130 views. And I'm like, that's different. It's like, it's the same game. It's not like I played a different game. It's not even like a long video. It's a decent video, but it's not that long. And I'm going like, I'm pretty impressed. I'm pretty impressed that out of nowhere I just started getting all this traction. So I'm going to obviously keep making content and try my best to, stay on that hype train. So I will be putting out more content on Calcolath than the other channels just because it's the one that's doing well. And if it does well, then I can put time into the other channels. I'm pretty excited about that. Cal Shorts is building up to be quite impressive. I'm happy with how that is developing too. Cal Shorts is basically all the shorts that I make for all my channels put onto one channel and organized. It's more or less just so if somebody wants to watch shorts that I've made, they can just go to that channel and watch tons of shorts. But if they want to watch, like, for example, I have a Legends of Runeterra playlist on Calcolath. There's shorts in there, but it's not all shorts. I have full length videos and everything. So yeah, I'm focusing on that, hoping that will be able to propel the content I make forward. Prior to that, I had done like some math, lots and lots of math about like, okay, I'm getting this many views and I was getting this many views a month ago, and then I was getting this many views 6 months ago. And if I look at the trajectory, then in 4.5 years, I might be able to work part-time as a YouTuber. So, the current direction, I'm not focusing on money because it's going to be years before anything really happens. But I'm going to focus on like just trying to get better content. I'm working on my thumbnails. I want my thumbnails to be unique. I don't want to have like the classic clickbait thumbnails. I like putting time and effort into having my thumbnails look artistic. And you can kind of see that if you look like my Warframe or Legends of Runeterra video thumbnails on Calcolath. That's kind of where I'm aiming for with that content. My progress on Cal Talks, I hit a bit of a speed bump because my brain, ADHD brain, started going off, and I was working on a video for mutants, which I had talked about in my previous short that I put out. And then my brain went, oh, but I can talk about Thunderbolts. Oh, but I can talk about other stuff in the MCU. Oh, but I can talk about Quantumania. And I have like 4 videos in the making that are like all about halfway done. So I'll try to knock a couple of those out tomorrow, along with some new games for Calcolath, because honestly, I've been playing Legends of Runeterra only on that channel for so long, and I looked at the statistics. Everything else I've uploaded is way more popular. I just love Legends of Runeterra, so I'm gonna keep making that content, don't get me wrong, but I'm gonna start playing some other games. So yeah, that's the content section. I just wanted to briefly go over that, and I didn't think I was gonna do that this episode. I thought I was gonna do that a couple of weeks from now. I would be like, yeah, a couple weeks from now, maybe it's I've made progress. But one day that was a pretty good surprising shock. Today's topic, and I know it took a while to get into the topic, but today's topic is going to be MCU comics. I'm going to be talking mostly about comics, but I will get into some of the MCU stuff I'm thinking about and DC, everything going forward. So first off, the reason I'm doing this is because I recently went to Fan Expo Canada and I had this inspiration to start buying comics. And I had to make a decision on what kind of comics I wanted to buy. What kind of comics would appeal to me? What kind of comics were good for me? And I came to the conclusion that I wanted to have Moon Knight, Doctor Strange. I wanted to do Secret Wars, the newer Secret Wars, and John Constantine.
I keep on wanting to say Constantine, but it's Constantine. But whatever. Those are the ones I want to do, and I actually have some of them with me right now. I know it's a podcast, so you can't really see them, but like I don't know if you can hear them. Here, which ones? Okay, I have Secret Wars, the variant cover with Black Panther on the front. It's the 5th volume of Secret Wars. That was one of the ones I was really excited that I got. Let's see if I can get this open here without tearing it. I don't want to tear it. Um, and I almost bought the rough sketch art cover Moon Knight Volume 1. Oh, there we go. So, it's the second time I've taken these out. I don't know if you can hear that. I'm trying not to bang the mic. Um, but this is honestly like something that if I had started when I was younger, I'd have a massive collection by now because Secret Wars is kind of my jam. Oh, and I'll talk later on in the podcast as to why all of a sudden I'm into comics because like I've always been into MCU and superheroes in general. I was a big fan of the Arrowverse when it first started. It obviously went downhill since then. Um, but yeah, I've been into that genre for a long time. It's just recently that it's developed into comics, and I will talk about that later. I also have a whole bunch of Canadian comics, and I feel bad because I like some of their storylines, and I think they're good storylines. Like there's apocalyptic, like We Survive, Showl Falls. There's a couple like good ones that are like not popular, not well known, and because they're Canadian comics and they're indie comics, like they're just the artists there putting them out. Even though they're good and like they hold up in quality, they were giving them away for free, along with like posters that they drew of other like Marvel and DC characters. And I felt so bad because I'm like, you should be charging for this. This is really good, but it is what it is, and I have them, and I'm gonna continue to track their progress. Okay, so I'm looking at my comics right now. I have, as it stands, I have this is the McKay run of Moon Knight. So I have the second volume, fourth, and fifth. I believe that's it. Yes. So that's of the Moon Knight series. The series on Disney Plus is actually what got me into it. I had known Moon Knight as a character, but mostly from the memes. And I gotta say, I was not disappointed because they still snuck in some of those memes, even though they're not actually canon. They snuck in some of those memes in the show, so I was super happy about that. Moon Knight is one of those characters that is connected to a lot of characters I already liked. Like, I'm a big fan of Blade. I'm a big fan of Ghost Rider. I'm a big fan of the Punisher. These are all characters I'm like, that's good. They connected to Moon Knight. I like that. And I'm a big fan of Doctor Strange. So I believe this is the 96 96? Doctor Strange Supreme, or Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme first issue. That was a cool buy. I actually got that at a yard sale. We were driving by and I saw some comics out on a table. They were all kind of torn up and little raggedy looking. One of which being Final Crisis, the whole Final Crisis with Superman. I bought that, and then I noticed they had a whole bunch of sleeved, really nice comics, and Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme was in there. I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna grab that because I'm a big fan of Doctor Strange. As you can tell, maybe as you can tell, I am a massive magic fan. Just in general, I like the supernatural stuff as long as it's explained in a way that is cohesive. And for me, that's one of the reasons why, despite me not being as big of a fan as of DC in comparison to Marvel, I still bought two John Constantine I said it again. Comics. I'm trying to find the one. I have it here. I swear I do. It's a really cool comic. Cost me way too much money. Actually, no. This is the other one. Because my other one's in a plastic case. I have the Hellblazer Special Edition, DC Vertigo. It's the number one issue, 1993. This one was like $25, and the other one I got was like 80. But yeah, it to me, like, I love how trippy and out there his comics are, but I also like the fact that he tends to interact with the most sane and non-magical part of the DC universe and still fits in, Batman being a big one. But yeah, I've added John Constantine to my collection. He's kind of the only DC I got aside from Final Crisis, and the rest of my collection is just definitely Marvel. It is Moon Knight, Doctor Strange, Secret Wars. Going forward, not only am I going to collect those, but I want to start collecting Miles Morales Spider-Man now that they're kind of following the direction that was laid out in Spider-Verse. I didn't like the old Miles that much. It was a pretty bland character, but I'm hoping going forward Miles Morales comics are going to be good, you know. I'm pretty excited about that. We are on to the content creator highlight part of the podcast, and this will explain my love for comics. Comics Explained is the creator highlight. Rob from Comics Explained. His silky smooth voice, always good to listen to. He explains the comics in a way that gets you excited about the comics, but is easy to follow along. And you can tell how much he loves the comics when he's talking about some of them. Like the Secret Wars, it's the whole reason I'm getting the Secret Wars collection. That's why I'm like trying to get every single volume and everything leading up to it. Because just his videos on it, he just sounds so excited, so passionate about comics. So if you aren't a comic fan, if you aren't into comics, check out Comics Explained. Look for like what's the next Marvel movie coming out. He's probably got content on like the comics that exist already, which can give you an idea what the characters are going to be like. It won't tell you what the movie's going to be like because the MCU's definitely been taking a different path than the comics, but just the way he talks about the comics makes you want to have comics and read comics all the time. And it got me to the point where I decided to start making investments into comics. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to buy comics, not to sell, just to have and to read, because the artistry, the story writing and the stuff that he was talking about, I had to start collecting comics. So yeah, if you want to, feel free to head over to Comics Explained on YouTube and give him a subscription or like some videos or watch any of his content, because he's definitely one of the biggest promoters for comics and the one that got me hooked on comics. So yeah, big shout out to Rob. The next section of the podcast is basically going to be going over what happened in the day, because this is going to be weekday podcast. And the one thing I want to point out is that most of what I do isn't content, it's work. I work in a kitchen. I do a whole bunch of jobs that I wish I didn't have to do. Some of it I like. I like serving students. I work at a university. I like serving students. I like making food, but I tend to be the Swiss Army knife, filling in for everyone's breaks and wiping down tables and running the dishwashers. And we have a massive industrial dishwasher. Like, our dishwasher is big. Like, whew, you can fit probably like, I think we put like 300 plates through it in like half an hour, and it's a conveyor belt dishwasher, so it's pretty big. But I end up doing that kind of work, and that is the majority of my life, at least for the last like 5 years. So yeah, today I came in, and I've learned to not come into work expecting to do something, because even though my shift is one thing, I come in, I go, what do you want me to do? Because either somebody's called in or something's broken, because, you know, why not? And every day I've come in the last like 2 months, I've come in for one shift and then spent the entire time doing like 3 other shifts, it's fulfilling work, but it's also like some of it is just, it doesn't feel worth it. It's like I drove almost an hour to get here. I work for 4 hours. I drive an hour home, and I get home and it feels like I've worked like a 9 hour day because I've been doing three jobs at once. And I'm like, that sucks. Some days I have long days. Like, I have a couple days this week where I'm sitting at like 9 hour shifts, 8 hour shifts. It's not much, but it's honest work, you know? And then I got home and my dog, my dog hurt his paw. So I had to patch up my dog's paw. He's currently cuddling on a dog bed behind me with Bear, which is a big yellow lab. Seth, the one that hurt his paw, he's a 14-year-old black lab. So, and Bear is his son. So they're cuddling on the bed behind. It's cute. Cute dogs. They're tired. They're tired. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. And then finally, after everything that's happened, I came to the conclusion that if I'm going to be doing these Coffee with Cal episodes, I kind of want to do them at the end of the day and release them in the morning the next day. And that's how I'm going to keep up with it, how I'm going to make the content, and how I'm going to do it when I'm calm, because I have ADHD. And in the mornings, I'm a little loopy. I'll be honest. I tried doing this kind of content before and I archived it and I kind of forgot about it. And then today I was thinking about this podcast and went, I should look at my old podcast to see what it was like. And I'll just say it sounded like I drank like 2 energy drinks before I did it. And I was filming them at like 4 a.m. I was live streaming them. Like it was just, it was okay. It was fun. It was funny to watch because he had Twitch chat going. But for this, I want to keep it more chill. I want to keep it more calm. So this is a morning podcast, basically looking at the day that has passed and looking towards what's coming next, which leads me perfectly into the final section of this podcast. I have a couple goals that I don't know if I'll ever reach them, but we'll see. We'll see. I've had a lot of dreams growing up, a lot of things that I had a passion for that passion didn't go away, but the access to pursue that passion has been dampened. So my goals with content and with working and trying to do this all at the same time is to eventually be able to make some money at it, obviously, and to pursue my dreams. I have a lot of them. So obviously, I will start with the one that's most reasonable. I want to go back to school. I want to go to school in Japan, hopefully Hokkaido, just because I would prefer colder weather. I don't deal well with heat, so I feel like if I went to school in Tokyo or like anywhere in the mid to southern part of Japan, I would not do well. So I'm hoping Hokkaido, but I want to go there and study Japanese, study their like Shinto religion. I want to travel around to all the shrines. I haven't really traveled much in my life. I've gone to like Niagara Falls. That is the most ambitious I have gone, and I haven't gone anywhere outside of Canada. So this is a big leap, obviously, but I think it's the right one. And I think if any of my goals are going to be accomplished, that would be the one that I want to accomplish. That being said, I also want to be able to do this kind of content full time. Eventually. Maybe. Give it a couple years, maybe? Possibly. I'd love to do it full time. It's not feasible right now, but one day, you know? Another goal I have is to put a CD out there, an album. Man, I'm old. I want to make an album on any, I don't know, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever it goes nowadays, of just my own music. Because for a long time, I've been a part of a bunch of bands. I said it in my previous episode. I've been a part of a bunch of bands. I've done a ton of music. And the one thing that always got to me is I had all these songs. I have a songbook of over like 300 songs that I wrote while I was in other bands. I only ever had one make it onto a CD. I never felt like I was the person in the band to create the music. Like, no matter how much effort I put into songs, they were always kind of belittled and undermined. And I just want to make an album that shows that I can do it, you know? I've had experience in so many different genres. If I make an album, it's gonna be whack. Cause I would do rap and rock and metalcore and jazz and funk and EDM and orchestral and potentially a ballad or two. And that to me is normal. Like, that is my music taste. I love all kinds of music. And for me, if I were to make an album, it would not be like a rap album or a rock album or a punk album or a pop album. It would have a bit of everything. And I think if I were to create an album, that would be what it would be. That would be my goal at least. I want to just circle back finally to address content. I feel like from now on, my content is going to be for me. If I make content, I want it to be something that I enjoy. I've already said that I make a bunch of Legends of Runeterra videos because I like Legends of Runeterra. I really enjoy the game. But I also make them because, unlike some games, the time the game takes and the time the recording takes and the time it takes to edit are all really low. Even if I do a bunch of editing to them, the games only realistically last 15, 20 minutes. And they can be as short as like 7 or 8. And then I edit that down, cut out silences, add some funny memes. It doesn't take that long. But I want to challenge myself. I want to start doing videos that are a little more expressive. I want to start subtitling my videos. I want to start doing things that make my content better without sacrificing the quality that I already have or the comfort that I already have. Because I feel like right now, making this kind of content is comfortable. And I never want to push myself to a point where I get anxious or stressed about making content. Even if it became my job, if I could maintain this level of like slow progression where I'm getting used to doing more and more without pushing myself past that, I feel like I could honestly meet that 120 videos a month goal that I have. And if I did 120 a month, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. Now, I've also said to myself that unless I'm full-time YouTube, I do not want to hire an editor. And that's mostly because I feel like I went to school for it. I should probably be good enough to do it. And second, I have a specific vision with my videos and with my thumbnails that I don't know if somebody else could actually capture that vision. I feel like if I were to get an editor, it would have to be somebody that was a hardcore fan of mine, but is also like sane enough that they can listen to my voice for hours on end to edit videos. Because it is a struggle. It is a struggle. Editing is a lot of repeating the same thing over and over until it looks the right way or it feels like it's smooth enough, you know? And then for CalCast, I had brought up recently that I was going to work on a long-term documentary, and I still am working on it. It's not something that I'm going to drop, but I want to start doing shorts about rumors, about things that are going on in the LCS, LCS Academy, because there's already some weird stuff going on in the off season. I'm not going to get into it here. I want to start doing content on CalCast that is non-committal content, if that makes sense. I don't want to do videos that are going to lead into other videos that are going to be into massive topics of discussion. I just want to basically relay information that I'm getting to the community as a whole. And that I feel like that's what CalCast is going to be for a while, up until I either get better internet and I can actually start casting games live again without them crashing repeatedly on me, or I get the documentary and I start doing more content like that. But yeah, that's where CalCast is going to be. Cal Reacts, I haven't started uploading on that channel yet. I have like one video there that I made a while ago, and I'm like, maybe I should do it. Maybe I should make more. But the thing is, is reaction content has this spike. So when something comes out, if you're within the first 24 hours, you're seen before anyone else. And I tried to do that. I tried to edit videos and do that. But at the time, my editing skills sucked. I was so slow at editing content. Because of that, I had like 3 React content like in within a week. I had made most of a video 3 times and then given up because I had passed that threshold. I know I should have still finished it and uploaded it, but it was one of those like by the time I would have had it uploaded, I would have been in the discussion on Twitter. I would have been like on other YouTube videos talking about it. Because when I'm passionate about something or when I'm interested in something, I invest in it. Like when I reacted to the Black Panther trailer, the first one, I was like, yeah, I'm going to make a huge video about this. This is going to be awesome. And then I proceeded to binge Canadian Lad, New Rock Stars. I read a whole bunch of comics. I'm like, oh no. I've basically put myself in a position where if I say anything, it's me repeating other content creators. If I don't get my video up ASAP, it sounds like I'm just repeating what everybody else is saying. And that's the downside to that kind of content. I still will be making it. Now that my editing skills are a little faster, I'm feeling pretty good about it. Like, I practice ran a PUBG game and did subtitles for the game. And it was a half-hour video once I got it edited down. And I did a half-hour subtitles in 45 minutes, which is pretty good. I gotta admit, it's pretty good. And before, that would have taken me like 6-7 hours because there's certain like little tricks you can do to speed it up, and I just didn't know. So I'm just gonna leave it at this. I'm gonna recap. So content started off good. Bigger spike than I thought ever. If that kind of growth happened daily for the next month, I'd be full time in a month. But I'm not banking on that happening. My comic collection, feeling pretty good so far. Oh, I forgot to mention, I asked for Moon Knight for Christmas. for everyone that was like, I'm gonna get you something. I'm like, can you get me the first volume of Moon Knight in like 9.8, 9.7 grading? And they're like, no, that's like $150. I'm like, ah. So I'm probably gonna have to buy it for myself as a Christmas present. And then obviously the rest of the collection is going well. John Constantine gonna be harder to collect because I checked all my local comic stores and they don't really carry much. Finally, of the recap is the creator highlight. Again, Comics Explained. Go give him a subscription. Go check him out. Do whatever you feel comfortable. But like, if you're interested in comics, or even if you're not and you think you could be, go check him out. It's worth the time. Just go check out his content. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for listening in. Feel free to subscribe to any of my channels, follow this podcast on Spotify, and as always, take it easy.